Okay, good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome all of you amazing human beings. Guys, we have a massive week this week. I'm super excited. This is obviously Pounds Breakfast on Tuesday, the 25th of October. We have a huge week, right? We've got a ton of things happening. Not too much on the fundamental front today. Tomorrow picking things up. Thursday being the massive day, but it is earnings season. As you guys loved our last trade-a-thon, we're going to be trading Microsoft and Google data live tonight. So you have your live account. If it has more than $100 in, you will be getting the links today for both the Dollars for Lunch session as well as our trade-a-thon, which we're going to start to call Pips for Dinner, right? So let me know what you guys think about the name, but I think it's suiting and it works. And in these trade-a-thons, we really get a lot more time to ask questions, to have a bit more time to go through markets. Generally, it's around about 2 to 3 hours. So it's quite a long session. We get to take breaks. You guys get to ask questions, and we essentially go and have a bunch of fun together, right? Charlotte's saying, read something interesting. If most traders would learn to sit on their hands 50% of the time, they would make a lot more money. 100%, Charlotte, 100%. Revenge trading is a thing. And again, at the end of the day, it's far better to live to trade another day than to go all in, right? There is no point revenge trading the markets. If the markets want to move, markets move against you. If there's traps in the market, it's going to happen. It's far better to observe and be understanding of when markets are moving the way you need them to in order to fit your strategy and your profile. And when they're not, learn to observe, right? I spend most of my time trading, not actually trading, right? I spend a lot of my time researching, looking at charts, looking at the markets. Doesn't mean I have a trade there. So I can highly advise, if you want to get better, you want to have an edge on your trading, spend more time watching the market, studying, researching, and learning. And again, as always, that is what Globex 360 Live TV is all about. Now, the Academy is launching really soon. I'm super excited. The material is looking mind-blowing. So all of your questions you've had over the past 2 months, every single one is addressed not only in detail, but in infinite detail into the Academy. So you guys are going to be really pumped to obviously get your hands on that. Just a quick shout out to everybody in the team. There's too many people to read out. You guys are absolutely amazing as always. But I want us to go ahead and before we start today's show, go ahead and like this particular broadcast. And remember, because it's public, I want everyone just to take 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds max. And I want you to go ahead and hit that share button and share this with someone you know who needs this information. Right, you're welcome to share this particular live broadcast as well as the link to our Telegram group, because again, the vision is to grow the biggest trading community in Africa and eventually the world. That's what it's all about. That's what we're here to do, and expand and impart knowledge so that people can not only be advised and be part of the financial market, but be in the best position to deal with what is coming. We know there's something big coming. You know it, I know it, you can feel it, you can see it. It's about being prepared and being ready. So again, if you've gone ahead and done that, please go ahead and drop a thumbs up. If you've gone ahead and shared, drop a thumbs up so we can just see who's here for comments and who's here to actually spread the love. If you're here to spread the love, go ahead and drop your hand right there, and we'll have a look at who's really part of the family, right? That's what it's all about. But we appreciate your time as always. So we're going to jump in and we're going to obviously move into the news section of where we're at today. I'm starting to see we spend a lot more time on the news and items like that. We move into live trading, and then we move into some further analysis. So we may redesign some of the timeline, but I'd like to still keep it on point so that you can all manage time. I know everyone's busy, everyone's got a ton of things happening, but we will be adjusting that in the days to come. So let's jump straight in and get into the news as we obviously look into the markets and what we can see from a data perspective, and we'll move into some of those fundamentals. So we're going to start off on the local front. As always, on the local front, there's nothing too specific about the markets, even though this is on the finance side. You know, we're not getting too much data on the markets. We obviously spoke about yesterday's Transnet issues, which is quite worrying, right? Definitely, if you look at the size of Transnet and who they serve and what they do, they have quite an important function, just like Eskom. So definitely something we should take note of and just be aware of in general. In terms of US data and US news, there's not a lot here that I find super interesting that I feel is going to be specific to the markets. It's really reporting on the past data and things that have happened. But ideally, you know, there's one article that I obviously am paying a bit of attention to, And that is going to be in terms of the focus on Microsoft's revenue forecast. Now remember, we're trading these stocks and shares tonight, so I'll dive in a lot deeper on what the expectation is from markets. And I think what we're going to do for this evening session, we're starting a little bit earlier. Last time we started at 9:45, we started at 9:30. So I can take you through what analysts are saying these stocks should do, and then we can position ourselves accordingly. And again, if any of these companies miss or beat expectations, it's going to have a massive effect on the markets. We've seen very little effect on Tesla. We saw very little effect from a Netflix perspective, but I think we're going to start to see markets ease up to some of these earnings. Markets are very, very scared at the moment. We can see it. We're seeing positive earnings and markets are sitting fairly flat. However, if you look at where we are now, and I'm going to show you in the prices, that we are moving into the next bull territory of the market. So bull territory shows confidence that this is where we're going. If we start to see these positive earnings, that will further fuel volume that is already there. So we could start to see a perfect storm scenario, which is ideally what I'm looking for this evening. And I'll break this down in much more detail this evening. Moving on to the UK, we have Sunak, who's obviously the new UK Prime Minister. He was pretty much alone in this race, right? His competitor dropped out, just basically say, like, I don't want to be involved, right? He has a massive job ahead of him, right? So UK is now in a post-Brexit structure. They essentially have to get on board with all of these financial models and help get markets to where they want to go. I can just see from Fabian, welcome. Thank you for sharing. Peter van Wyk shared, and Pella shared, Wyland shared, Marcellus shared, Carabella shared, Lungile, Andy, Simus, well done. Thank you, Gawain. AR1C and Nobile shared this morning. Is there a problem with the server? The video streaming freezes. On my side, I'm currently streaming on my side. I don't have any freezes on my side. So I'll show you guys what I essentially do on my side just to monitor. And I'll pop this into the window. So what you can do on the broadcast, I don't want to break YouTube again because this happened last time. Maybe let me not do that. I don't want to break it this morning. But what you can do is if you're on a PC, you can right click on this video and you can go stats for nerds, right? So right click and it says stats for nerds. That'll show you your health of the stream in terms of receiving the data versus what the stream is sending you, right? Connection speed, etc. So if your connection's not great, you may get stutters, but I can see on my side, the stream is sending out perfectly and should be received perfectly. Zane saying no freezes there. Fabian saying no freezes on his side. Ash, thank you for sharing on FB and Insta. Darius, what is happening? Good morning. So Sunak has a serious amount of work cut out for him. If there's one dude I don't want to be right now, it's going to be this guy, right? Without a doubt. Well, a few others, right? But most certainly, this guy has got a serious amount of things on his shoulders. So what we want to look out for is any major policy changes, and obviously the sentiment is quite sour at the moment to the last financial plan that the Truss temporary administration introduced. So we want to see, is that going to be a contrast to what Truss brought in? You know, what financial model they're going to pull in, and how is that received by the public? I think at the moment, if you're in the UK, more than likely there's a very negative sentiment at the moment to politics. If there's any of our traders with us live here from the UK, we would love to know your opinion. What is it like on the ground? What is the sentiment? We are going to grow to a stage, right, in the coming months where we will have a reporter from Globex 360 Live TV sitting in the UK, sitting in the US, sitting in various areas of the world to give us feedback on the ground from what they're seeing there, not from news articles, but what the local sentiment is. So again, we're taking things to a whole new level, not just relying on some of these news points, but having people in those particular countries to really tell us what is the sentiment and what is the feeling on the ground. So you definitely want to stay tuned. We've got some massive things planned. I promise you, we're taking over. There is absolutely no doubt about that. All right. So let's move into some of the fundamentals for today. And obviously, as you guys I pointed out yesterday, there's not a ton of things happening in the market, but just quickly giving a look at the S&P 500 heat map, we can see the markets ended the day majority in the green yesterday. I'm going to show you why. Tesla gapping down slightly in market open this morning. That represents that negative 1.45% or 49%. But in the fundamental data, we know that we only have the CB consumer confidence for this afternoon. So in our dollars for lunch session, we are going to be starting at 1:15. We will trade all the way up to the CB consumer confidence, right? So you want to be a part of that. It's going to be extended show, right? Again, there's never been a better time to get your Globex 360 live account sorted out. Hit the link in the description down below, open up your account, get funded, and you'll get the links to all of these premium sessions. You don't want to miss out. Again, we're taking things to a whole new level, and you definitely want to be a part of this as we move forward together. All right. Now we still have plus minus about 3 minutes towards our live trading session. And I think I want to use this time this morning to rather go over what is currently happening across the board from an indices perspective. So far left, we have US 30, dead center NASDAQ. On the right, we have German 30. And just to show you, these are all 5-minute timeframes, all the same market structures. So I'll pick one out on each. Right, all very, very similar market structures, right? There may be the slight change, right? If we just have a look at these market structures, we may have a slight change. Most specifically, we can see on German 30 yesterday, that pullback that we got in the afternoon, just after our live trading session, was much greater than what some of the pullbacks we saw on other markets, right? So German 30s was a little bit sharper, but in general, we were looking at that long yesterday. The pullback, essentially from my perspective, definitely looks like a form of market manipulation. And quick zoom in on US 30 in terms of where we are today. So this is where we were yesterday, right? And we bought US 30 to the top side. And what we ended up seeing just after that was we got a very, very sharp pullback. My risk management, my stop loss was set up just below this diagonal support here, right? Ultimately resulting in essentially that buy. We took some profit being closed out. I wanted to start selling here, but immediately within 5 or 10 minutes, we got an engulfing candle. Markets continued to the top side. So with that movement to the top side, where does that put us in the greater stage of things, right? I just want to explain this so we're all on the same page about where things are currently going, right? So I want you to see this from a daily perspective, right? Again, I've spoken about this a few times. This bear market here is the worst 6 months of any start to stock markets in the last, I think, 20 or 40 years. I can't remember the exact number, but in essence, a really bad 6 months. This is January 2022 all the way to June 17th. So worst 6 months of any year. We broke out of that worst 6 months and then started that pullback in terms of, that market bottom that we saw pretty much beginning of this month, end of last month, right? Now, with that pullback happening, we recovered past that support in terms of the 6-month low. And where we are moving on to now is some major, major levels that we needed to overcome to make it to this next stage. Now, zooming in on where we are today, you'll see that yesterday we hit that 61.8, right? And today we've essentially started to breach that 61.8 to the top side. In this current stage, right, this is showing us that we are in this next bull run. We've broken, here's the 61.8. We've broken that and we are moving towards that top side, right? So are we in the next bull run? Price action definitely says that, right? That we are looking at the next bull stage of this market. Now, as we open up for the London market open, what I've observed here is that we've broken out, pulled back, and that we are now in this next bull season, right? So I'm currently in a buy as we speak. London market open is showing us a bit of an impulse to the top side. If you have a look at the structure that we start out with this morning, we started in this little bit of a sideways momentum towards the side, and I'm currently in a